Alright, so let's talk about these buttons. First off, we have his crouching or low medium kick. It's a really good far-reaching low. It can be canceled and drive rushed out of. It doesn't really do a lot of damage though, so don't spend a lot of resources unless you really think you'll get the kill. Crouching medium punch is really good because it's 0 on block. Standing heavy kick is good as a whiff punish. On counter punish, you can get a pretty good confirm with heavy Tatsu. Or if you want to get fancy, you can do a drive rush and do something like this. Heavy punch is Ken's go-to button, in my opinion. Great poke, the high damage, cancelable. His medium kick is an alright poke, but is unsafe if you cancel it into the rest of the triple flash kick string. Avoid using it really, unless it's the only thing you can do to get a whiff punish. Alright, up next we have Chin Buster. This one's really important. It's going to be used a lot. You can cancel it into stuff like Hadouken and Jinrai. This does pop them up in the air, so keep that in mind when you're comboing. You might have to do something like this if you choose to drive rush. You can combo into Chin Buster with low light punch. This is super important, so do this as part of your warm-up every day before you start your matches. Go into training mode and practice confirming Chin Buster from low light punch like this. And then of course we have heavy Dragon Flash kick. It's plus on block. I'm sure you know all about it. If your opponent blocks this, you do have 1 frame, 2 if they're crouching, but it's only enough to just get your jabs out. So follow up with your jab to make sure you maintain your pressure. If they press a button, of course they'll get counter hit. If you try to use a medium, you're gonna trade like this, so make sure to use the jab. And of course we got OD Aerial Tatsu. This is a neutral tool of his. I don't use it a lot because of the crazy frame data. You see it's it's all over the place depending on where you land. There, just whiffed. You have to be jumping forward. It can cross up, but you typically get better frame data when you hit them in the front, like right there we were +8 and +5 on that side. So, and there +4. Can also be used as a corner escape. I like to use this in mid-screen. Just run cancel Chin Buster into the Fire Tatsu and you'll carry them all the way to the corner. So of course we got to talk about the Jinrai kicks. Typically the one you want to go for is the medium Jinrai kick into the light follow-up. And the reason being is because that one is the only one that leaves a true 1 frame gap as shown below right there. Now on hit you'll have to use the heavy follow-up instead because of how he pops up in the air. And if you do the heavy Jinrai you'll whiff, but this can be used to our advantage. Delay the medium follow-up, the overhead, and you can actually land a meaty overhead. Right there, it's 5 frames. The trick is to actually listen to him yell Jinrai and hit forward medium kick right after he finishes saying it. It helps me time it a lot. And if you do it right, you'll probably get 4, potentially even 5 frames. Which, of course, if you have 5 frames, you can full combo out of it. So if this isn't your thing, there's actually another setup you can do that's auto-timed. What you want to do is Chin Buster into medium Jinrai with no follow-up, then with a jab, quickly as possible, run cancel that into the medium kick run cancel option for a meaty overhead. And this will give you 4 frames, which is just enough to, of course, combo with low punch into Chin Buster again. This same setup can be used off of the Chin Buster into Fire Tatsu combo we showed earlier. So you can do it right here and you can actually get 5 frames. Same setup. And you can kind of loop it if you're crazy, if they keep getting hit by it. You can even confirm into the jab into light Tatsu medium DP. And if you feel a reversal coming, just use the light kick stop, the light kick button to stop, and you can block a reversal and punish. So if you want to do Jinrai loops in the corner off of heavy punch, use the heavy version and you can delay the light follow-up and loop it, but it's really hard and the timing is strict, so I actually prefer using the OD Jinrai off of Chin Buster. It's a lot easier. There is a slight delay for the follow-up, but it's very minor and easy to do. Now, if you abuse Jinrai too much, this is going to happen to you. So we want to pepper in some run cancels into our offense. So any button that can be canceled into a special move can also be canceled into his unique run mechanic by pressing 2 kick buttons. And then, of course, they have the special follow-ups. If you hit heavy, he kicks. Light, you'll do a quick stop, which can be... you can throw after real quick, and then the medium kick button will perform an overhead like that, as we showed in that setup earlier. But the best one is off of heavy punch, because heavy punch gives you the best frame data right there. If you do heavy into run into the heavy kick finisher, it gives you a perfect 1 frame gap shown below. You can see that yellow bar has a perfect 1 frame gap, which right there will give us great counters. If your opponent presses a button, they're going to get counter hit, and you can confirm into that light Tatsu combo. You can do drive rush stuff too if you want. Once you've conditioned them to respect you a little bit, you'll have enough time to start going for the overhead follow-up. On normal hit, it'll only give you 3 frames, which isn't enough to combo, but it does maintain your turn. So if you can keep pressing. After that hit, if they press like this, they're going to get counter hit. And of course, you can do any of the combos we talked about earlier. These run follow-ups can be canceled into super art on hit too. It doesn't even need to be a counter hit. So after a normal hit, you're +3. This is actually, since you can't combo, it's a good time to go for a throw. If we set the opponent up to get counter hit between that, so they get counter hit with that overhead follow-up, you do get 5 frames, as shown here, which is enough to pop off with a full combo off of medium punch, as we talked about earlier. And if you don't want to spend resources, use the light Tatsu combo. Or combo into that Chin Buster setup we talked about earlier. And if they're really respecting you, do the late follow-up to quick stop and do a fast throw. After landing a throw, immediately run into the heavy follow-up for a meaty hit. This is auto time, so you don't have to delay anything. It will also hit people who jump on wake up, so it doesn't counter hit, but if you know they're going to hold in up, it works. If you land a drive impact and wall splay your opponent, do a drive rush forward into 2 jabs, and then cancel that second jab into a run into the medium follow-up, similar to that setup we talked about earlier. And this will be an instant overhead attack as soon as your opponent lands. It's almost like, I guess they call a reset. Now, if your opponent is blocking high, they will get out of this, but if they block low, you can actually combo. And if you know they're going to block high, you can quick stop and do a throw, which will be timed as soon as they hit the ground. So So if we set the dummy to only crouch block, let's say they're holding in crouch block as they land here, that overhead hit is gonna count, is actually gonna combo. So you have 5 frames there. Let me do it right. And you can combo into another chin buster setup, or whatever. This is where the loops start coming in. You go into setup, into setup, into setup. Or cash out with OD Jinrais into super. Look at that damage. The OD Jinrais can be cancelled into level 2 as well. Here's a practice exercise you can do. Set the vitality recovery settings to standard. Change it to block after first hit, so they block if you drop your combo. And put wake up reversal light punch. This is to simulate somebody mashing on wake up. They're trying to press buttons on wake up. And for block reversal, you can turn that off, I believe. You don't need that on right now. And I want you to perform this sequence. We're going to link all the different setups together. And then we're going to finish them off with an OD Jinrai into super. So this is what it would be like on a mashing opponent. We're going to go over that one more time in slow motion here. That's chin buster into run cancel into Tatsu, which will give you the flaming Tatsu. And we're going to go into that light jab run cancel medium follow up for that meaty overhead, which will counter hit. So we can go straight into another chin buster, into our heavy Jinrai whiff with the delayed medium for that other setup. That will counter hit again, another chin buster into the medium Jinrai with no follow-up, and then use our setup again where we do a jab, run cancel into medium overhead follow-up, counter hit into chin buster, into Jinrai, and into level 2. And they will die. Now, if you don't get counter hits, and you get normal hits, you will have to do the crouching low punch into chin buster. So the timing will be much tighter and much more difficult, but it still works. So practice that tech and let me know how you did. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something, give me a like, maybe even sub. Thanks.